Hello and welcome back to Retfurb. So on today's video we've got this set of Rockshox Indy S forks from 1998. So we're going to be giving them a complete strip down overhaul. Now not in the best of conditions as you can see from the video straight away, but I'm going to go through them, I'm going to service them, show the process involved with that, and then we're going to actually do a colour change on them just to make them look more like the Indy C colour and decals to match that. But I'm still going to put the Indy S text on there just so you know that they are Indy S still and not trying to fool someone that they're Indy Cs. So yeah, as you can see, strip down is in progress. So I've just undone the top cap and now I've got the elastomer and one of the sort of intermediate plastic pieces that goes above the elastomer, and then on to the other side exactly the same. So just unscrew the cap and then the elastomer will fall out with the other part attached to the top of it. Now with these forks, it doesn't have a bolt on the bottom to secure it like the Judys do. With these, you've got to have an extension bar with a 6mm Allen bit, and I think it needs to be at least 10 centimeters long to do it. Now when you put it down inside, you need to sort of wiggle it around a little bit sometimes just to get it to catch that bolt, but once you've got it, then it'll sort of undo nice and easily, and then you can pull it all out with the Allen key. Now the bolt might not come out with it straight away, you'll see on the next one when I do it. I think the bolt gets left in, but you can get it all out afterwards when you slide the stanchions out of the bottom legs. You can see I was having a little bit of trouble there just trying to get the Allen key bit out, so I just pulled the stanchions out and the whole lot out, and then obviously you can see that the bolt is sort of hanging out the bottom there. So you can just drop that piece out of the stanchions and then you can separate all that, and then it's ready to obviously clean and service. So again, the same on the other side, just dropping that piece out. And you can see there the bolt has now come out. And now just removing the rubbers off of the legs. So you can see the condition of these are not great, to be honest, but we're going to carry on. They're still usable, they're just a little bit worn on the stanchions, but they're still well usable, so they'll be okay. So now I'm just going over and cleaning everything, degreasing it, getting rid of any of the old grease, grime, dirt, dust, etc. Just scraping around any of the seals and rubbers, just obviously being careful not to damage them in the process. And again, just wiping off the elastomers. I will give them another wipe off obviously before I put them in, but just getting rid of the bulk of it first. And now just going through the top cap and just making sure it's adjusting okay and nice and free. And exactly the same with the one on the other side. And now I'm going to remove the top seals on the forks, just removing the small metal rings first before I lever them out. Obviously when you do lever these out, you just need to be careful you don't damage anything inside, any of the bearing faces that are inside the fork legs. And then on to removing the brake bosses. Nice and easy, they just unscrew. And then wiping off the seals, just getting rid of any dirt and grease all around that, so they're nice and clean to go back in. There's no sort of damage on them, so they'll be fine. They'll be usable again. The same goes for these rubbers. They're all nice and clean, no cuts or anything like that in them, so they're well usable. And now we can look at prepping up the lower legs. And I'm just using some, I think I had 80 grit on here to start with, just something a little bit coarse to get rid of a lot of the flaking, a lot of the sort of scabby aluminium parts that were on there. Just removing that. Now these are pretty rough, to be fair. They're not going to be brilliant, you know, I'll get them, you know, pretty good, but considering the condition of the stanchions and everything, I'm not going to waste my time going too mad with them, because, you know, they will go on for quite a while still, but you know, if they were immaculate stanchions and everything else was all nice in them, then I'd spend a lot more time. I'd probably get some body filler and just fill some of the sort of dips that were left from the corrosion. Luckily, most of it is underneath where the brace is on the fork, so you don't see a lot of it, because once the tire's on there, it's sort of up underneath, so a lot of it will be actually hidden. So I've just degreased it. I'm now giving it a quick coat of primer, just a gripper coat, and then we can move on to giving it full coats of primer, making sure they cure in between and tacked off, and then ready to give another coat. So I ended up giving it about 5 coats, I think. Obviously letting it cure off in between the coats and then applying another coat. And when I say cure, I don't mean fully harden, but you've got to sort of let it skin over, make sure you're not just painting over top and leaving it wet underneath. And now I'm on to just prepping them up, wet flattening with a bit of 1000 wet and dry, just flattening down that primer. And now you can see in the future I've actually painted them white now, and I've made up some Rockshox Indy S decals. So obviously these look like the Indy C decals, but I've put Indy S at the bottom. I like the colour of the white and the blue, so that's what I wanted to try and replicate on these. And as you can see, just carefully putting the decals on, just making sure that I get no bubbles or anything in it whilst I'm fitting them. So with this, I just gave it 3 coats of white, which included a gripper coat, which is just a light dust coat, and then 2 full coats. And then I gave it a couple coats of aerosol lacquer. I just did the whole job with aerosol on these, purely because the condition, you know, normally I would probably put a nice couple of coats of 2-pack lacquer on there to seal it all in and make it look a lot nicer. So now the seals are back in, and now greasing them up, ready to put the stanchions in. Now with this, straight away you probably notice I forgot to put the boots on, so I go through the whole process of filling the oil up, and then in a minute you'll see I take them apart and put the boots back on. But anyway, back to the job. The oil is 10 cc's in each leg, and then we can start putting the parts back in, basically a reverse of what we did to take it all out. Obviously you've got to then put the bolts in at this point and secure the stanchions into the lower legs. But like I say, in a minute I'll do all this, I'll get almost completed, and I'll think, oh, I've missed the boots. So you'll see in a minute that I pull them back off, but I sort of skip for it, but you'll just see the process of me doing that. And then I've just greased up the elastomers and all the parts that go inside, and then you can just slide that, again making sure you remember the correct order that these parts came out, and they just go back in the reversal of that. So here you see I've just pulled them all back out again, and now I'm putting the boots on there. And then that's back again to the sort of stage that it was left before I did that. So just securing the top caps back in. Nice and easy job really, just using some adjustable spanners to do that. Obviously you can use a spanner the right size, and then just using the adjustables to put the brake bosses back on. And now I'm just going to give it a quick polish up on the top crown. I'm not going to go too mad with it, but just give them a little bit more of a sheen than what they had. Just using some Alto Sol metal polish on that. So we're basically there with it now. As you can see, they came out pretty well. Obviously not immaculate, but you know, they'll go on for a lot longer now, so they can be used on a bike. So yeah, another successful refurb. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video, it's really appreciated. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.